Let's open up your weekend with the third game of our Friday triple header live from the PCV Social Civic and Cultural Center in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. It is the battle of the heavy favorites in the open conference of the country's one and only volleyball league, or professional volleyball league, the Premier Volleyball League. And you can watch it live on One Sports Plus, and Signal Play. And moments from now, the Chery Tiggo crossovers taking on the Creamline Cool Smashers. Hi everybody, thank you for watching us. My name is Eric Tapan alongside Neil Flores. And this is going to be a big one, Neil. Two of the fan favorites and heavy favorites as well to probably go all the way.
This is indeed the perfect way to cap off our Friday night. And Eric, I know you'll agree with me when I say that this is also the clash of the Titans, because when we look at the roster of both of these teams, we know that they are loaded with some of the best players that we have in the Philippine volleyball scene. But before we officially start this match, I think we can check our updated team standings.
Well, no argument on my end, Neil, as these two teams obviously very talented on paper and have played pretty well so far, as you take a look at how they fare after several days of play already.
Right now, the Cool Smashers and the Flying Titans remain unbeaten as they maintain the top two spots in the rankings, followed by Petrogas. Meanwhile, the Chery Tiggo is currently sitting at the fourth spot after that close loss to the Santa Lucia Lady Realtors. And looking at the standings, sitting at 3 wins, the crossovers probably need 2 or 3 wins from this closing stretch to stay in the top 4.
Well, Jaja Santiago finished with 14 points, currently the third best scorer in the league, and they are coming off a defeat against the Santa Lucia Lady Realtors in 5 sets. We take a look at some of the highlights here of that match. Ostero with 8 points for the crossovers. And it seemed in the first 2 sets that Chery was going to run away with it, but or Santa Lucia was going to run away with it, but Chery bounced back. Unfortunately, just did not have enough in the end.
Early on, it looked like that they were headed towards another shocking loss after subpar efforts in the first and second frame. As you can see, 25-12, and it was very surprising for Chery Tiggo to perform that way. Fortunately, they had Mylene Paat, they had Dindin Santiago Manabat, who worked hand in hand as they forced a fourth and the fifth set. Unfortunately, yun nga lang, they lost steam, and the errors that they committed did not help their cause in that match.
Well, Dindin Santiago Manabat top scored for the team with 20 points in that game. Well, only 2 players though scoring in double digits, and obviously that's just not enough against a talented Santa Lucia Lady Realtors team.
I would have to agree. The Santiago sisters have been performing for the Chery Tiggo crossovers, but they need the support of their bench players and the other players on the starting lineup if they want to get more wins coming into this ball game. 20 big points for Dindin Santiago Manabat as she had a solid outing. And Chery Tiggo still struggled to find the right mix of players on the court that can be consistent in both the back row and with their attacks.
Well, earlier today, Ayitin Sai, who's on location in Bacara, spoke to Dindin. We'll listen in.
Dindin, gaano ka kasaya with your current conditioning? Napansin namin na bumabalik ka sa form mo back in 2016 and even better. Ano ba yung mga nagbago sa'yo? Produkto ba to sa paglalaro mo sa Japan and even with your bubble training ngayon sa Ilocos?
Dito ko natututunan yung mga disiplina, diet, and syempre yung sipag. Sobrang saya ko kasi gusto ko talaga maibalik yung nilalaro ko. College days pa lang ako. Sa Japan, sobrang laking tulong sa akin doon kasi syempre iba yung volleyball sa Japan. So ang laking tulong ng mga bagay-bagay na natutunan ko doon.
Nakita namin na consistent and magaling yung gameplay nyo, pero may iba pa ba kayong mapapakita para sa fans?
Mas kailangan pa namin mag-focus sa defense and service receive kasi halos lahat naman yun yung kailangan, and syempre kailangan namin bumalik ng basic. More on kailangan pa namin mag gel, teamwork, more communication pa.
There you
Yan
have
na po.
it. Dindin Santiago of the Chery Tiggo crossovers.
Well, with 2 defeats so far in the Open Conference, they do need some fine-tuning if they are to perform at par with some of the best teams here in the PVL. Let's take a look at the Creamline Cool Smashers and their game just the other day against one of the Giant Killers, one of the teams that actually gave Chery a loss and Signal a loss, the Ballypure Water Defenders. Unfortunately for Ballypure, this was not a giant they can slay, as Creamline absolutely dominated Ballypure in a 3-set win.
The Cool Smashers came out with full intensity, as they did not give the streaking Water Defenders any chance to come up with an upset. And you can see the respect they had for their opponents, not substituting some of their main players dun na lang sa latter part of the sets when they were about to win already. And I think that the second set was obviously a statement that they are still the team to beat in our Open Conference.
25-3, that was the set, or that is the set that Neil is talking about. What a dominant performance there for Eliza Valdez, who top scored for the team with 16 points, and so many contributors in this game. Gia Morado with 25 excellent sets. Michelle Gumabao finished with 14 points, currently the 4th best scorer for the team. And this trio just led an all-out attack. Gemma Galanza was also part of that scoring party, but I mean, it's these three that really punished Ballypure in that match.
Eliza Valdez was obviously the main contributor, serving a total of 25 times throughout the match. Then you have their playmaker, Gia Morado, dishing out 25 excellent sets for the Cool Smashers. But aside from the dynamic duo of Eliza and Gia, the emergence of Michelle Gumabao has been one of the revelations of Creamline, as she added that 14-point output in support of her teammates.
Take a look at the contributions just of 3 players for Creamline, and again, like what we mentioned, there's so many others just joining in and helping out the team make it a smooth match yesterday against the Water Defenders. Now, earlier today as well, I spoke with Gia Morado and Michelle Gumabao. Actually, with Gia Morado, we'll listen in.
Coach Tai really makes it a point to keep us grounded every game, na we focus on the task at hand, kung sino man yung magiging kalaban namin, and we really do our best to respect yung kung sino man mga kalaban namin. So yung preparation namin for one team, it's different for every team talaga. So ngayon, we really just want to take it one game at a time, one training at a time, kasi this bubble is a lot to handle talaga, so it takes a lot of mental toughness to make it through this bubble. We're very grateful and happy with the wins, but we know it's early in the season. There's a lot of room for improvement for us and also for the other teams, so we really have to be prepared for that, and we know we can't be complacent talaga.
Great mindset for Gia Morado and the rest of the Cool Smashers, just staying ready, staying in shape, and staying prepared, more importantly. But one of the things, I mean, as great offensively as Creamline is, one of their best traits as well is how great their defense is, led of course by Kyla Atienza, their libero.
I would have to agree. She is currently the number 5 digger and number 4 receiver in our conference. We always give spotlights to the hitters and the setters, but sometimes these are the unsung heroes that really contribute to that solid outing for their teams.
All smiles right now, but when they do have their game faces on, they're a pretty formidable team to beat. We'll go down to the PCV Social, Civic, and Cultural Center in Bacara for our officials and the starting 6 of both teams.
It's time to meet our national referees for this match. First referee is Lumer Pajarillo. Second referee is Joy de Imus. And now let's meet the starters. First, for the Chery Tiggo crossovers. Middle blocker from the National University, number 3, team captain Jaja Santiago. Center also from NU, number 4, Jasmine Nabor. Outside spiker from Anderson University, number 7, Mylene Pat. Middle blocker from the University of Santo Tomas, number 10, Micah Ortiz. Outside spiker from the University of the East, number 11, Shaya Adorador. Opposite hitter from NU, number 16, Dindin Santiago Manabat. And the starting libero from the Far Eastern University, number 23, Boding Durendez. Head coach for Chery Tiggo is Aaron Velez. And now the starters for the Creamline Cool Smashers. Outside spiker from the Ateneo de Manila University, number 2, team captain Eliza Valdez. Middle blocker from the National University, number 5, Risa Sato. Opposite hitter from De La Salle University, number 7, Michelle Gumabao. Center from the Ateneo de Manila University, number 12, Gia Morado. Middle blocker from the Far Eastern University, number 13, Seth Domingo. Outside spiker from Anderson University, number 15, Gemma Galanza.
We'll take a look at the starting lineup of the Chery Tiggo crossovers. A surprise here for Coach Aaron Velez as Micah Ortiz is in the starting lineup. She did not see action in their last game. Let's see if she can contribute and give them a better start here as they need it against the Cool Smashers. In the meantime, it's still the same starting lineup for interim head coach Sherwin Meneses and the Cool Smashers. Pretty solid lineup here. Not that tall in terms of physical height, but they do mesh and gel very well on the floor.
Well, one of the advantages of the Creamline Cool Smashers is that they have one of the most intact lineups. They've been together for so long, and gelling was never an issue. That's why they're currently at our number 1 spot.
Gia Morado, currently one of the best servers.
And she's also our number 1 setter.
Number 1 setter, that's right.
You know, Eric, I've been watching Chery Tiggo for quite some time already, and I noticed 2 points. One, they have 3 setters in their lineup. You don't usually see 3 setters, but they're maximizing everybody.
Yep.
And medyo paiba-iba din yung starting lineup nila. So let's see if they can find that right mix, because heading into the tail end of this competition, you have to have a solid starting 6. Then you build on that.
Well, to your point, Jasmine Nabor was played in the first 2 sets against Santa Lucia, but then she was replaced by Salak, who played the remainder of that 5-set loss for the crossovers. But in the meantime, so far so good for the crossovers. They have a 2-0 lead against the Cool Smashers here. Jasmine Nabor at serve. She sets right now to Paat, who only had Mylene Paat with just 6 points. So I mean, I'm sure Chery expects a lot more from her.
Sometimes she plays in the outside, sometimes she plays in the opposite, but I feel like she's more fit in that opposite position because that's her natural hit.
Second best scorer of the league, Eliza Valdez, served. Her spot, yes!
You can just see that she's comfortable hitting it from that angle.
Yep.
Compared to being an outside hitter.
That was off a underhand set, by the way. A spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Paat serving. They're trying to get it to Eliza Valdez on the serve as Michelle Gumabao, 36.7% scorer.
Huge numbers for Michelle Gumabao.
Coming off a 14-point performance, and she was one of those Cool Smashers who really just punished Bali Pure yesterday. She was on the money yesterday. Speaking of on the money, Manabat connects.
Right now, Dindin is playing in that outside hitter position. In the past games, she was playing opposite. And right now, mukhang maganda din ang balasa ngayon ni Coach Aaron.
Currently the 6th best scorer in the tournament, Jaja Santiago. Michelle Gumabao once again, back-to-back kills for Gumabao.
everybody was expecting Eliza Valdez to put in the numbers, Gemma Galanza, but Michelle Gumabao
Yep.
truly is a revelation so far in this conference. High accuracy, high precision attacking for Michelle Gumabao.
Nabor sets it up. There's an off speed from, I believe, Adorador, and on the second attempt, she knocks it in.
Chery Tiggo starting out strong. And as you said a while ago, they have that edge when it comes to height advantage. But with Gia Morado pulling the strings, she can do so much with the offense of the Creamline Cool Smashers. You can never expect what she's about to do. So your intuition should be on point when you're up against the Creamline Cool Smashers.
Here comes Galanza. Off the two blockers, yes. Galanza with 10 points in their last game. Gemma Galanza, former Adamson Lady Falcon, doesn't seem to have lost a step or that bounce as well on her jump. Very athletic.
And the floor defense is still there.
That's right. Oh, but unfortunately, Manabat just too good that time from the same position, same result.
I know that they have a couple of losses already, but the numbers are, you can't use the numbers to define them as a team. Because personally, I believe that they can be deadly if they can maximize the Santiago sisters. Imagine Jaja is currently the #1 spiker in the league with a 52% efficiency.
Yep.
But there are some games na feel ko hindi nila super na maximize. And an advantage that is not being used would not be considered an advantage.
So what you're saying is they're definitely better than the 3 and 2 position in the standings right now.
Yes. Lalo na, yung bench nila kahit sino pa yung ipalit mo, kayang-kaya rin naman nila mag-perform.
Yeah. Very deep bench as well for the crossovers as they get a service ace and have a 4-point lead against Creamline here in set number 1.
Still serving for the crossovers, Jaja Santiago.
Back here at the PCV Social Civic and Cultural Center in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. Chery looking pretty good here in set number 1, up by 4. As Eliza Valdez attacks, Dorendes picks it up and a tip there by Nabor. Back row attack, Galanza, great defense on the floor. Manabat from the back row, picked up by Atienza. Both teams playing good defensively. Pad, though, connects on it down the line.
Mylene Pad firing on all angles for the crossovers. Good start coming from a low point production in that previous loss. Sabi mo nga 6 points lang, but she's looking to build more on that coming into this game.
Much better start here for the crossovers compared to how they did against Santa Lucia when they lost the first set 25-20. There's another service ace by Manabat as the lead is up to 6 now. Right now, interim head coach Sherwin Meneses calls a timeout. We will, on the other hand, check in with Ai and this interview with Jaja Santiago.
ranking number 1 for best spiker, number 3 for best server, and number 4 for best scorer, I had a chat with the one and only Jaja Santiago of the Chery Tiggo crossovers. Talking about her assessment on her performance, she's still not satisfied dahil hindi raw siya nawawala ng gutom para mag-improve sa araw-araw. Hanggang finals, pinapangako niya na may maipapakita pa siya higit sa pinapakita niya ngayon. I asked her how does a legend like her cope up in this bubble setup. She said that she sacrificed so much for her career that now she solidified her mental strength and will to keep on going, and this is just another challenge that she will overcome as her passion drives her every day to be the best for her family and for her team. Now let's see how the fiery crossovers get back on track against the defending champions, the Creamline Cool Smashers.
Thank you, Ai. Back in play as Eliza Valdez connects right there and cuts the deficit. There's Jaja Santiago right now getting some rest time, but we assume she will be back very shortly.
She's the number 1 spiker, number 3 server, number 4 scorer in the Open Conference so far. On the other hand, for Eliza Valdez, she's the number 2 scorer, number 2 spiker, and number 5 server. Kaya maganda rin yung mga matchup of players natin today. And Micah Ortiz will get her first point in this ballgame.
Back to a 6-point advantage for the crossovers, 11-5 in set number 1. For those who saw Creamline last Wednesday against Balipure, what seems to be missing here in the gameplay of the Cool Smashers, Neil?
Looks like they're having a hard time setting up their blocking and defense at the back row. Dami natin nakita patay from the outside and the opposite from Mylene Pat and din Santiago Manabat.
But one-handed set there for Morado connecting with Risa Sato.
That's what I've been saying about Gia Morado. You would think na alanganin or awkward na yung position niya, but she would still find a way to set up and engage her middle attackers.
Paat, this time just out of bounds.
Too strong on that hit for Mylene Paat.
But you like, if you're a fan of the crossovers, you like how they're getting Paat involved because like we mentioned earlier, I mean, she's better than 6 points per game. So they want more from her. And they need it if they want to contend with teams like Santa Lucia, like your Creamline, like maybe even your Chocomucho. And there is another connection. Paat with another touch, Neil.
He's been very active in the front row. And as you said, marami pa silang kakalabanin after facing Creamline today. They still need to take on Petrogas, Black Mamba Army, and the Chocomucho Flying Titans, a team who is also undefeated so far in our conference.
Nabor serving. Valdez, yes! Creamline managing the deficit right now, the biggest lead of crossovers. As you see this spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. The biggest lead of the crossovers of 6 points. Creamline just trying to keep themselves within striking distance here, down by 4. And that serve, Eliza Valdez, second, one of the best servers you mentioned earlier, Neil.
That's the exact serve na nagpahirap sa Balipure Water defenders in that blowout match.
In that second set, there were only 2 servers in that game for Creamline. The first was Gia Morado, and the rest was Eliza Valdez.
Their second middle blocker didn't even rotate into that game already.
I was said Domingo. And Shaya Adorador, former UE Lady Red Warrior, scoring here.
This is the strongest front line for Chery Tiggo with the Santiago sisters and Shaya Adorador.
So far, 3 points off 3 attacks for Mylene Paat. Good serve, but better receive there from Atienza. There's a push by Galanza. Oh, trouble at the net for the crossovers as they commit an error. And speaking of errors, 34 unforced errors for Chery Tiggo crossovers in that loss versus Santa Lucia. Meanwhile, only 12 unforced errors for Creamline in their 3-set win versus Balipure.
Well, you can't afford to do that again against the Creamline Cool Smashers.
Oh!
Especially when they play clean volleyball.
That's right. Right now, a lot of clean hits for Chery as nobody was close to the ball there with the Manabat kill. Over receive. Atienza was right there again. Gumabao is blocked, single lady block by Manabat.
From offense to defense. Good performance so far for Dindin Santiago Manabat.
Lead is 5 for Chery. There's Galanza blocked. Oh, terrific defense. Back-to-back defensive kills by Chery, and back to their biggest lead once again at 16-10 over Creamline, set number 1. Well, crossovers finding ways right now, Neil, to keep the distance against across the Cool Smashers back up to their biggest lead of 6 points.
6 points already for Chery Tiggo. Mukhang pinag-aralan din talaga nila yung game style ng Creamline Cool Smashers.
And it's paying off for Chery. They keep targeting Eliza Valdez on the serve.
That can be one of their strategies, because if you target Eliza Valdez, you can take her out of the system, because we know na malakas siya pumalo from the back row.
This is now the biggest lead of the crossover, 17-10. Make that 18-10 now.
Looks like they're trying to avoid Atienza
Well,
on the serve.
you know what they say, right? I mean, to serve to anyone but the libero, if you can. It's paying off for the crossovers. Atienza picks it up, though. Here comes Galanza. Yes! Finally stops that run of Chery. Gonna be a bit of a climb here, though, for Creamline, as Tots Carlos will check in, and Kyle Negrito as well.
Tots Carlos, one of the newest additions for the Cool Smashers. She has been performing really well so far. Every time na ilalagay mo siya sa loob ng court, instant production for Tots Carlos.
That same power that the fans loved when she was with UP, very evident in their play against Ballypure on Wednesday. Kyle Negrito instantly connects, and great production off the bench.
That's a luxury for Coach Sherwin Meneses, having two amazing setters na malakas din mag-serve. Talking about Negrito and Gia Morado.
And she sends it to her former teammate too. Buting Duremdes was right there and couldn't pick it up. Back to Duremdes. Duremdes better received now. Manabat. Atienza picks it up. Galanza. That's too wide.
Gemma Galanza trying to go over the blockers, because most of the time you will encounter 2 or 3 blockers from Chery Tiggo. So it's the job of the setter of Creamline to really split the defense.
Yeah. And it's a very intimidating set of arms as well. Micah Ortiz is there, Manabat is there. Adorador, 2 points so far in the game. One-handed set there from Negrito, and she connects with said Domingo, her teammate in FEU.
And connection will never be an issue for former teammates.
That's right.
As they saved this point.
Great serve. Paat was unsure of whether or not to get it, and as she tried to avoid it, the ball actually connected with her.
Again, when you are unsure, always get the ball instead.
A timeout here by Aaron Velez, it seems. Trying to protect a 5-point advantage here. Let's see if the timeout pays off and the Chery stops the run.
Now Mylene Pat is asking for the serve. If you make a mistake, that's what you do. You ask for it again.
Eliza Valdez with the rare attack error.
Uncharacteristic of Eliza Valdez.
As Chery advances, leading by 6 again, 20-14. Set number 1. Good serve by Manabat. Underhand set by Negrito Valdez. Durendes will set it up. Back row attack. Jaja Santiago. That's just long.
She was a little bit off that approach. Medyo nakahiga na yung katawan niya as she hit that back row attack. Now Ella De Jesus will make her way in.
Good serve, over received by Adorador. Here come the Cool Smashers. Tots Carlos with a tip. Kept alive by Ortiz. Paat. Yes, Mylene Paat finding the open holes in the defense.
Huge hole in the middle of the defense of the Cool Smashers. Wasn't the strongest of hits for Mylene Paat, but it was well placed.
And the defense as well. There was a gap in between Sato and Carlos.
When you have tall attackers, you can't afford to have those loopholes in your blocking pattern. Dahil lulusutan at lulusutan ka niyan.
Back row attack. Galanza into the net. Couple of errors for Gemma Galanza in set number 1. And right now, Chery in position to take set number 1.
Yung mga previous losses ng Chery Tiggo, they always start out slow. But this time, looks like all-in attackers for Chery Tiggo. 7 points as they lead this first set.
Still shouting that same mantra taught to them by their head coach. Let's try and stay happy.
Coaching staff looking for the energy and intensity dito sa Creamline. We saw Panaga a while ago who is still setting out this ball game, I believe.
Liza Valdez in the meantime blows through 2 blockers. But take a look at the digging situation in favor of Chery, 11-7. Here's Valdez.
Targeting the left hand of Santiago.
(16 serving 22). Set number 1. Paat. Once again, Paat just able to find the opening in the defense.
He's been all business talking about the Chery Tiggo crossovers. Syempre, they're currently at that fourth spot. Medyo delicate position to be in. So you need to at least challenge the Creamline Cool Smashers.
Great delivery there by Morado. But the defense was set for Chery. A tip there, just on the line for Risa Sato.
Good court sense on the side of Risa Sato. She already jumped for that attempt and it was hard to set that up. Kaya tinulak niya na lang dun sa open zone.
And look at how she tiptoed the line as well. Just careful not to cross it and commit an error.
But now Jaja Santiago is at the front row.
She didn't even have to lift a finger as Eliza Valdez with a service error, and Chery now, they have 7 set points, 24-17.
5 points already under the name of Mylene Paat, all coming from attacks.
Just the point shy of her output versus Santa Lucia, and a break there. Tiny little advantage given by Chery as they give up a point.
Celine Domingo coming off a 7-point output in that game against the Water Defenders.
18 serving 24. Creamline need to play perfect, but Santiago just didn't allow them to get any advantage in that sequence. A statement kill there for Jaja as Chery pocket the first set versus Creamline. Final score is 25-18. Back here inside the PCV Social Civic and Cultural Center in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. Set number 1 in the books already, and Chery looking pretty good here with a 25-18 win versus Creamline. Take a look at some of the highlights of the first set.
I would say that it was a team effort for Chery Tiggo. All of their attackers got involved in that first set. They were hitting it above the blockers of Creamline, which was a very smart thing to do. They exposed the loopholes and the gaps dun sa depensa rin sa back row, especially Mylene Paat, as she is currently the top scorer so far in this ballgame.
One of the things to admire for the crossovers, or with the crossovers, is the way they've played defense. Well, not in that play, but how well they've defended against the attacks of your Eliza Valdez, your Gemma Galanza, and so many others. And take a look at the statistics after the first set.
14 attacks against the 10 of Creamline, and defensively, they obviously did better with 2 blocks against the 0 of the Cool Smashers.
Well, let's see how adjustments are going to be made by Creamline and what they need to do in order to bounce back here. You don't hear that or those words said very often when you talk about Creamline, but that's what will need to happen if they want to extend this match against Chery. Remember, Creamline undefeated so far after 5 games. In the meantime, Chery, they are 3-2 in the standings.
We still have a long way to go. This is just the second set. And you know the capacity of the Creamline Cool Smashers to bounce back.
They're not the defending champions for nothing. Creamline Cool Smashers. Set number 2 just about to get underway. Hi everybody, good evening. Thank you for watching us. Eric Tipan with Neil Flores on the call. This game that I'm sure a lot of fans will be talking about for the next couple of days. And I'm sure the result of this game, as Nabor with a service error, the result of this game is something a lot of the other teams, the 8 other teams, are looking at right now. I mean, because these 2 teams on paper are 2 of the best. And even the fans expect these 2 to push all the way.
And may ibang giggle when you're up against an undefeated team. You would want to be the very first team to put a loss in their scorecard. But Creamline starting out better in this second set, courtesy of those hard serves from Gia Morado.
Better received that time from Paat. There's a tip from Santiago. Gumabaw. That is outside.
Gumabaw clearly bothered by that double block. When you're up against Jaja Santiago, you have to be able to choose your angles well to score a point.
Michelle Gumabaw clearly not the same player she was last Wednesday when she just scored at will against Valley Pure. Not the case against the better net defense of Chery. And easy put away there by Shaya Adorador.
3-point for the crossovers of that regalo.
And just when you think it was a better start for Creamline, here comes Chery. And this little surge has tied the game. 2-all. Gumabaw, yes, right on cue.
Better attack from Michelle Gumabaw. That can be Creamline strategy if you want to split the defense. You can go back and forth to the outside and the opposite to keep the middle blocker guessing.
That spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Good serve there by Eliza Valdez all the way to the back. Here comes Adorador cross court. One-handed set from Morado does not pay off as Sato overshoots the mark.
She knew that it wasn't the best of hits, so she apologizes for that.
Jaja is back on serve. This is one of the times in the first set when Creamline was really hurt, this serving of Jaja. And she really continues to punish Eliza Valdez there. Underhand set by Adorador, or to Adorador. Here's Gumabaw, cross court, picked up by Nabor. Adorador sets it up to Manabat. Manabat is blocked. Paat with the up. Here comes the Jaja from the back row. Yes!
Now Nabor maximizing Jaja even from the back row. And why not? If it will work, you can keep on going to that same play.
If they'll allow Jaja to hit from the bench, I think Jasmine Nabor will set to her as well.
That is the connection that I have been looking for in the past games for Chery Tiggo.
Atienza setting it up. And the off-speed hit by Galanza. This time, it translates to a score.
Gemma Galanza, also one of the thinking players for the Creamline Pool Smashers. She knows when to challenge the blockers. She also knows when to hit it off the block.
4-all. Set number 2, Risa Sato. Nabor sets it up. There is Manabat. That is wide.
That has been the same target for Chery Tiggo, and they have been successful so far. Yun nga lang, Dindin Santiago Manapat missed that mark.
Second serve for Sato as Creamline is up by 1, 5-4. Manabat once again. Good save. But the first touch, Ortiz with a kill.
Getting the playing time that she deserves. Also a former part of our national team. Talking about Mike Ortiz. Kadalasan, she would usually come off the bench, but for this game, nasa starting lineup siya.
And she didn't even see action versus Santa Lucia in that 5-set loss for Chery. Good receive by Atienza. Here comes Gumabaw. Off the block of Manabat, and she scores.
Hitting it off the hands of Manabat. When the set is tight, na mas malapit siya sa antena, that would be the easier thing to do compared to hitting it cross court.
Here comes Manabat. Oh, into the net that time around for Dindin. Creamline with their biggest lead of the match so far, 2 points. set for Shaya Adorador from the back row, picked up by Gumabao. Underhand set by Morado to Galanza. And Galanza, she's been up and down so far today.
Still trying to get her range of that open hit.
One-point game, 6 serving 7. Galanza, that's out yet again.
Back-to-back errors from Gemma Galanza. Now we're tied at 7-all.
Galanza with 10 points in their win versus Pure so far today. Had a couple of points, but has also had 2 straight errors here in set number 2. Domingo, that's picked up by Adorador. Paat, that did not cross the net. Gonna be 4 touches against Chery. So Creamline gets a slim 1-point lead going into the first technical timeout. 8-7 versus Chery. Creamline takes us to the first technical timeout with a 1-point lead here against Chery. Would you say, Neil, that they've made the proper adjustments, or both teams just feeling it out so far here in set number 2?
Well, so far in the past few sequences, we saw that it was just an exchange of unforced errors. Kaya hindi pa natin nakikita yung main adjustments na ginagawa ng Creamline. But as we go to the midpoint of this set, hopefully dun lumabas yon. But they will get another point courtesy of that rotational error from Chery Tiggo.
Sharp eye by second referee Joy D. Imus with the call. 2-point lead for Creamline over Chery. 9-7 here in set number 2.
But now Eliza Valdez will be leading the offense for the Cool Smashers as they try to add a little bit more caution to their lead. And as we say that, dagdagan natin ng isa, it's now a 3-point lead for the Cool Smashers.
Jasmine Nabor attempting a 1-2 play right there. Unable to tip the ball into play. There's Valdez in front. So far, 4 points for Galanza. Ortiz with a tip, yes!
Good adjustment for the side of Micah Ortiz. It was clearly too high for her as she just put it over.
Two-point game, 8 serving 10, set number 2. There's a 1-2 play by Morado and she scores.
Defense of Chery Tiggo caught napping on that sequence. Gia Morado on that 1-2 play.
$11-8, Creamline, Dorendes. And maybe poor communication there as ball was too far from Nabor. Could have been Manabat's ball. That error forces Coach Aaron Veras to call a timeout for Chery. Compared to most coaches, Coach Velez has a very patient coaching style. You can see him very that soft voice and the way he talks to the girls.
And he's a very calm person sa pagkakakilala ko sa kanya.
And it shows with the way he coaches. Ball still alive. Good block by Sato. But Sato unable to get it across the net. That's going to be 4 touches against Creamline.
Sato still trying to find her groove in this ball game. But talking about adjustments, I think nakita ko na kung anong ginagawa ng Cool Smashers. They're really serving hard to force Chery Tiggo to go to their outside hitters. And when you already predict that they're going to their outside hitters, you can establish your defense well.
Valdez off a combination play, but the defense, speaking of Chery's defense, doing a pretty good job predicting where Eliza Valdez was going to end up.
That might not work until they get commitment from the middle hitter because Jaja Santiago is just there manning the defense for Chery Tiggo. So you need to get Risa Sato involved para kahit papano madelay man lang yung mga blockers.
Valdez off a broken play. Take a look here. Gumabaw, great delivery to Eliza Valdez, who gets it through the hands of Paat.
Unfazed by the double block of Pat in Santiago. That's why she's called the Phenom.
Oh, that's not gonna fly, says first referee Lumar Pajarillo. Calls a lift violation against Jasmine Abor. There's Coach Aaron Velez, or at least the back of his head. Now he turns around, you see. Still, again, pretty calm. Doesn't look tense, doesn't look anxious whatsoever, despite the fact that Creamline slowly trying to build a solid lead here. Oh, great timing there from Jaja Santiago.
Again, she's the #1 spiker so far in our conference. And I'm sure it took a little bit of adjustment then on the side of Jaja Santiago kasi galing siyang Japan.
That's a spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Paat and company keeping it a close game. 11-14 here. A block on Gumabaw. Morado back to Gumabaw, and she repays the trust of her setter.
Big mistake for Chery Tiggo not having at least one blocker go up against Michelle Gumabaw.
Production of Eliza Valdez so far, 5 points of 4 attacks and 1 ace. That's outside. Eliza Valdez with the service error. There's Eliza now talking to our first referee, Lumar Pajarillo, saying there's maybe a touch. And nope, point awarded to Chery.
We don't have the privilege of a challenge system right now. So all of the calls of our referees are final.
Jaja Santiago on the serve. Great receive by Kyla Atienza, but that is outside, too strong for Galanza, who really hasn't gotten her rhythm in this match.
He's trying to hit it off the hands of the blockers, but it has been unsuccessful so far.
Chery mounting a mini comeback here. 8 points for Jaja so far in the match.
She only had 14 points in that loss against Santa Lucia.
Gumabaw. That was softened by the block. Nabor, back set. Shaya, Adorador, yes! 1 point game.
And this is probably the reason why Coach Aaron Velez is calm. He knows the capability of his players. He knows na kaya nilang bumalik.
That's exactly what they're showing right now. 14 serving 15, chance to tie for the crossovers. Single lady block by Micah Ortiz as that ties the game at 15 all.
This is a good decision from Coach Aaron, fielding in Micah Ortiz. not just on defense. We know her signature running attack is one of the most powerful hits here in the Philippines.
Poor receive from Valdez. Free ball for the crossovers. Let's see what Nabor does. Goes to Ortiz. Eliza with a dig. Here comes Gumabaw. Had to adjust the set. Was not to her liking. Manabat into the net. And Creamline gets a freebie from Chery. A 1-point lead here going to the second technical timeout. Slim 1-point advantage for the Cool Smashers here, 16-15 versus the Crossovers. Would you say that this is a must-win set for Creamline, set number 2?
Definitely, it's a must-win because when you're up against, again, Jaja Santiago, Micah Ortiz, and you're down by 2 sets, iba yung confidence na nabibigay nun for Chery Tiggo. Lalo na they're very hungry to get another win as they are occupying that number 4 position in our team standings.
Let's remember, for those of you who don't religiously follow the Open Conference, Chery coming off a loss against Santa Lucia. Meanwhile, these Cool Smashers are undefeated in the Open Conference. Great block on Galanza. The save not good enough as Galanza continues to struggle, and Chery now up by 1, 17-16 in set number 2.
It has been the blocking of Chery Tiggo that has dictated the pace of this game so far. And the middles of Creamline have been a little bit quiet.
It has also frustrated the attackers of Creamline today, as well as they played and as freely as they attacked versus Ballypure. They've been unable to really get that rhythm today. But a break for them as there have been some errors, especially from the serve of the Crossovers. Tots Carlos, who saw a bit of action in set number 1. Players must wear their face masks while they're on the bench. They can still actually play with face masks, but we haven't seen anybody actually try that. Manabat. There is Galanza, who finally connects.
Better hit for Gemma Galanza. Perfect height on that set. Perfect extension. And kailangan pa niya dagdagan yan if they want to close the second set.
And I'm sure fans of Gemma are happy to see her finally get one after struggling in her past few attacks. Manabat. Kyla Atienza just crawling to the second touch right there. Nabor. Ortiz. Yes!
And yun yung sinasabi ko, that's the deadly running attack from Micah Ortiz. Hidden gem for Coach Aaron as he finally utilizes Micah Ortiz in this game.
18 all. Very tight set number 2. Ayla Atienza, terrific job so far on the floor defense of Creamline. And more is going to be expected of her. 1-2 play, picked up by Duremdes. Jasmine Nabor on the second touch, yes!
Jasmine Nabor is also an attacking setter.
That's
and
right.
hindi yan yung usual drop ball. She would hit it off the top of that net with force, as you can see in this replay.
And aside from being an attacking setter, she's a lefty, which is hard to predict for the net defense of Creamline. And Coach Sherwin Meneses calls a timeout here. Cool Smashers down by 1. Why the timeout with just a 1-point deficit, Neil, at 19-18 in set number 2?
Because we're almost at that 20-point mark, and we know that hanggang 25 lang every set. So you need to be able to control the rotation of this ball game if you want to catch up. Malaki na yung 1-point lead towards the tail end of every set.
So what kind of adjustments were made or you think are going to be made here by Creamline as you see Manabat score and attack from the back row?
Now that they're down by 2 points, they need one good reception na alam natin that they can provide so that Gia Morado can get their offense going.
Attack points in set number 2, not too far apart between the two teams, just +2 for Chery. The hands of the offense will be, or the offense will be in the hands of Gia Morado, but fortunately for them, a free point given up there by Manabat. There's Pau Soriano. Haven't seen her in action today.
This is good news for Creamline. Now, Eliza Valdez is at the front row. You can expect most of the balls to go to her at this point. And Eliza Valdez ripping through that double block.
Well, 2 straight points for Creamline as they tie the game.
Huge gap in the middle for the blockers of Chery Tiggo.
Back row attack. And Manabat punches through the defense.
Eliza Valdez knew na medyo mali yung positioning ng mga kamay niya dun sa ibabaw ng net.
Very tense minutes coming up for the fans of both teams as they're going neck and neck here in set number 2. Shaya Adorador from the back row. Eliza Valdez through the double block. Jaja Santiago, yes.
When you need a point, who do you go to? Jaja Santiago.
Lead is 2 for Chery. And another timeout here by interim head coach Sherwin Meneses. We'll try to listen in and see the adjustments he's going to make. Well, the reason the voices are very faint during the huddles is as part of the safety protocols is our production staff can't really get as close as possible, as close as they want to in the huddles. Bisa man dapat on your screens. And I don't know if you guys noticed, the viewers, that these teams don't change courts as well. Wherever they start, which side they start on, that's where they play for the entire match as part of the health and safety protocols of this Baccarat bubble. Manabat into the net.
Now, Creamline is just down by 1 point. As another substitution will be made, the service specialist, Ella De Jesus, one of the more versatile players. You can use her as a service specialist, as a libero, as an outside hitter. Let's see if she gets an ace.
Looking for the tie. Creamline, 21, serving 22. Nabor. Manabat, that's picked up by Morado. Underhand set by De Jesus. Elias Valdez tips it. Manabat once again, yes!
Single block, definitely not enough to stop that Jaja Santiago attack. With that height
Yep, that elevation as well.
and that reach, you need at least 2 or 3 blockers maybe.
Two-point lead. And there's a block by Santiago as Chery Tiggo crossovers now with 3 set points to go up 2-0.
Gia Morado has been trying to activate her middle blockers. Yun nga lang, laging nababantayan ng blockers din ng Chery Tiggo.
But it's been these unforced errors, Neil, that has kept Creamline within striking distance of Chery.
No, for Chery, buti na lang, they're up by 2 points because if you're at 23 all, 24 all, these are errors that cannot be committed.
That's right. Coach Aaron Velez not taking any chances, calls a timeout. Giselle C on your screens, one of the 3 setters you mentioned of the crossovers, Neil.
But now I see Tina Salak not in uniform. She's in the coaching staff. Kaya they will be sticking with Nabor and C for this game.
There's Jaja. She is blocked at the net as Creamline stays alive, saves 2 set points, but Chery still has 1 more.
As expected, you get a better chance in defending that net if you have 2 blockers against Jaja Santiago.
Morado will load up the serve to prevent Chery from setting up a good one. Oh, but serve not strong enough as Jaja Santiago with the finish. And the Chery Tiggo crossovers now lead 2-0 against the undefeated Creamline Cool Smashers. Set number 2 in the books, and Creamline in trouble. As we take a look at highlights of set number 2, it was a much closer one, Neil, between Chery and Creamline. And there were some errors on the side of the crossovers, but the breaks of the game really went the way of Chery.
Yeah, let's go back to that last play, yung 25th point ng Chery Tiggo. That was, again, a single block against Jaja Santiago. And you cannot do that if you want to defend that net. And it's important to take note that Creamline has very good defenders, but they work best if they have touches on the blocks. Obviously naman sa statistics natin, 14 attacks against the only 8 of Creamline. And again, the blocking department for Chery Tiggo has been pristine. Sobrang ganda ng pinapakita ng mga defenders ng Chery Tiggo so far.
Well, the Cool Smashers have 3 service aces, but obviously those weren't enough to get them over the top. Was a close one, something they actually could have taken. But right now, the reality is they are facing a 2-0 deficit against one of the more formidable and tall teams in the Open Conference.
This is definitely uncharted territory for the Creamline Cool Smashers because they're used to getting ahead against their opponents, but they still have a chance if they get this 3rd set.
Mylene Paat with an attack error. And this is pretty much the same way the match started in set number 2, where there was a service error from Jasmine Nabor. And Creamline got off to a 2-0 start. There's Santiago.
It has been a field day for Jaja Santiago. A lot of clean hits for her so far in this game.
Coming off a 14-point performance for Jaja Santiago. She's looking pretty good here.
And if you notice, hindi pa zero tempo yung mga sineset kay Jaja Santiago. Medyo differential. And if you get her in that zero tempo, just imagine how deadly it could
Yep.
be.
Kyla Atienza sets it up with a little help from the tape of the net. Valdez gets it across. Here's an off speed coming from Adorador. Valdez will try again. Manabat was right there. A tip by Paat, blocked at the net. Nabor sets it up. Nope. According to Lumer Pajarillo, our first referee, that's double contact.
Another point for Creamline as they try to carve out this third set win if they want to extend this match. Currently, Eliza Valdez already has 7 points under her name, followed by Gemma Galanza with 5. They need more output para makakuha ng isang set.
So nobody in double figures yet for the Cool Smashers as Manabat from the back row connects. And look at the happy faces right now of Chery there. This is what a lot of people and the fans of the PPL expect to see from Chery game in and game out as you take a look at the spike of the set brought to you by Duncan.
She has been consistent so far. And that's what she said in that interview. Gusto niya maibalik yung prime niya when she was still playing in college.
Well, she could be on track to get that with the way they're playing here. And if they stay consistent, it's going to be a huge threat to the entire field of teams in the Open Conference. There's Adorador getting through the double block. Chery ties the game at 3 in set number 3.
Serving for Chery, Tiggo, Jaja Santiago.
Underhand set for Gumabao, who's blocked at the net. The defense of Chery just pretty good.
Again,
in this
solid,
game.
again, solid blocking for Chery Tiggo, and the coverage of Creamline was still not present in that rally. But they have 3 attackers in the front row. This can get some things going for the Cool Smashers.
And again, targeting Eliza Valdez. It's been paying off for the serve of Jaja Santiago.
They did their homework. Trying to get Eliza Valdez out of the equation dun sa opensa ng Creamline.
Galanza picks it up. Gonna be a free ball here for Chery. Adorador. The up by Morado. Here comes Gumabao. Nabor will chase after it. Manabat with the easy over. Gumabao once again over received. Oh, but a lucky break. It went all the way to the back row and a point for Chery.
Even the breaks of the game going towards Chery Tiggo's side. They're looking good with a 3-point lead.
Very early timeout here for interim head coach Sherwin Meneses. Down by 3 in the third set.
We have to outwork them, okay? Let's go work hard lang. Basta serve ka lang. Serve ka lang. Isip na lumaban. Dahil natin lumaban. Isip lang po.
Okay, masyado mag-dwell sa errors. Pag never kayo or pumuto sila, kalimutan nila agad. Start agad tayo.
Here's the attack by Michelle Gumabao and that over received by Jasmine Abor that actually ends up in a point for Chery.
the coaching staff of Creamline, just reminding them to take it 1 point at a time. You can't dwell on your errors dahil kaya mo naman makabawi after that.
Another free ball off a misreceived by Valdez. Here comes Ortiz. The dig by Morado. Galanza. Yes!
Now they need more of those. Talking about Gemma Galanza.
Smart move by Galanza. Seeing as the ball came in slowly, the defenders were set at the net. Just didn't try to push her luck by hitting it hard.
That's a sign of a good outside hitter. Yung knowing when to adjust, lalo na pag mid-air ka na.
Meantime, Shaya Adorador has been hurting Creamline, especially here in set number three. Good serve. A tip by Morado. A push all the way to the back as Jasmine Abor with a smart move. 8-4 Chery over Creamline in the third set.
That's just 4 points. Yes, let's go.
What have been the issues that need to be addressed, Neil, especially for Creamline right now, as they can't seem to... Their biggest lead was, if I'm not mistaken, was the 4 points in set number 2, but even that didn't seem like something they could hold on to for a long time.
Well, first of all, you can just sense that the vibe is different for Creamline. They're not used to being down by 2 sets. And you can see that on the court. They're being very tentative dyan sa backcourt defense nila as the lucky breaks going to the side of Chery Tiggo. And now, they're at a 5-point deficit.
Santiago Manabat with the point. And everybody contributing on the side of Chery. You got Adorador. Obviously, Jaja Santiago, Manabat will score. Paat's been there. Also, you get some points from Jasmine Abor.
And they already have 7 attack points compared to the single one of Creamline in this third set. Again, continuing to pound the service reception of Creamline, and it's working really well for them.
Eliza Valdez has been the target of the serves of Jaja Santiago, Shaya Adorador, and it's been hurting Creamline. There's a push there by Domingo. Dump by Ortiz is good as Chery continues to pull away here. 11-4 versus Creamline.
That's also one important thing to note. The blocking of Creamline has been very inconsistent. So it's easier for Chery Tiggo to attack.
Valdez again, struggling to receive the serves. And do you think it will come to a point where Coach Chery Menezes will have to sub out Eliza Valdez in order to stop the bleeding for Creamline?
That can happen para lang magkaroon ng breather si Eliza, but knowing her skills, we know that she's also a good receiver. It's just that maybe ngayon, napakalakas talaga ng serve ni Shaya Adorador. So let's give credit to her also.
Tots Carlos connects, and that stops a huge run of Chery. Biggest lead was 8 points. That's a spike of the set brought to you by Duncan.
Tots Carlos will try to breathe life dito sa Creamline Cool Smashers. It's still not over.
Oh, this isn't an insurmountable lead by any measure. But Creamline has got to play near perfect if they really want to challenge Chery here in the third set, because the confidence of Chery right now is sky high.
This is unofficial, but I feel that isa pa lang yung naitatalang puntos ng middle blockers ng Creamline, talking about Risa Sato. Most of their offense right now is coming from Alyssa Valdez, of course, Michelle Gumabao, Gemma Galanza, and Tots Carlos.
Valdez. There's Paat. Carlos keeping it alive. Valdez looking for some payback here. Is blocked. Gumabao with the up. Morado back to Carlos from the back row. And Tots Carlos. Instant offense from the bench.
Fresh legs for Coach Sherwin Meneses. At one point in this conference, she managed to score 20 plus points in a single game. So we know kung anong services na kaya niyang idagdag dito sa Creamline.
But a huge deficit to erase if you're the Cool Smashers. Paat. That is off the mark.
Creamline getting bonus points from the unforced errors of Chery Tiggo. And if you're on the part of Chery Tiggo, you don't want to give confidence to the Creamline Cool Smashers, because once they get their offense going, trust me, there's no going back.
Yeah, they're tough to stop, that's for sure. Domingo serving 7-13. Set number 3, underhand set for Nabor. Back row attack. Manabat is blocked. Free ball for Creamline. A tip there. Sato is rejected. Here comes Valdez. Valdez is blocked. Solid defense at the net by Chery. I mean, that's been one of the reasons why they've been in control of this match.
I think they finally found the perfect mix of players in their starting lineup. So this can be their solid 6, and tsaka na lang papasok yung mga substitutions.
Total block points in the match, +7 for Chery. Valdez into the net. I'm sure fans of Creamline right now are
Surprised, to say the least.
surprised for sure. I was about to use the word shocked, but surprised will do. 15-7.
Because personally, I was expecting a long one.
Yeah.
Although we're not yet done. But this is a commanding 7-point lead for the crossovers.
And it's not just that, it's the gameplay. I mean, you can see Chery, they're very confident. They're playing extremely well on both ends of the floor, defensively and offensively. Meantime, Creamline, they're hesitant, they're tentative. They're still trying to figure out what exactly will work against Chery.
But they will try to convert this one. And finally they do. That's another point for the Cool Smashers.
Slowly but surely, Creamline trying to make it a smaller deficit here, but there's a lot of work ahead for Gia Morado and the rest of the Cool Smashers. 9 serving 15, down by 6, and also down 2-0 against the crossovers. There's a tip. Good dig by Atienza. Free ball for Chery. Nabor to Jaja. That could be outside, no check ball. Yes, point for Creamline.
Wasn't the best of sets for Jaja Santiago. Now they're getting instructions kung ano ba dapat yung ibigay kay Jaja. They look for that advantage, and I feel that mas advantage sila dun sa A quick or B quick compared to that running hit.
Aaron Velez burns a timeout here. His lead is down to 5. You can see that Coach Vela is very conscientious. I mean, he has something each and every time out. It seems like the time is not enough for him to give out his instructions every time he sues for a timeout.
You also see the respect. Even if they're up by 5 points, they know the comeback potential of the Cool Smashers.
Santiago connects to the corner, and the lead is 6 as we hit the second technical timeout in set number 3. Stay tuned for one battleground immediately after the PPL games here on One Sports and One Sports Plus. Well, we're down to the final stretch of this third set with Chery leading 2-0 and up 16-10 versus undefeated Creamline. What needs to happen here to make this a longer match?
Looking at the positive side dito sa Creamline, even though they're down by 6 points, nakita natin Risa Sato finally got her touch to the middle, and Eliza Valdez will continue to fight for the cause of the Cool Smashers as they trim the lead to 5.
Well, let's see what happens in the next few plays, because that's been sort of how it's gone here in the third set. Creamline will score a couple of points, and then Chery will run off with 4 or 5. Careful set there for Tots Carlos as she connects 2 straight points for Creamline. Big question is, can they complete the comeback? Still a 4-point lead for Chery.
Tots Carlos just pounding it off the hands of Mylene Paat.
9 points for Valdez in total in the last 2.5 sets. This is what we've been talking about. Creamline will score, but they can't seem to get stops when they need to.
That's correct. They need 2 or 3 maybe consecutive points to get the momentum back on their side. And the substitution will happen. Will she replace Eliza Valdez? Yes, I think so.
Mylene Paat adjusting here at the service area. 17-12 set 3. Yes, no Eliza Valdez in the lineup, as Coach Sherwin Meneses will make the major adjustment in order to be able to get a good first ball. Carlos off speed. Ball is still alive. Here comes Gumabao. Yes!
And pakonti-konti, we see spurts of confidence from the Cool Smashers.
And they're looking more aggressive, especially in that last play. They were decisive, and they knew what they wanted.
Good substitution also for Coach Sherwin to give Eliza a little bit of a breather
That's
to
right.
observe what's happening on the court. Para pag bumalik siya, she knows the adjustments kung anong gagawin niya.
Big question is, will it be too little too late? We'll find out. The tip there by Jaja is blocked. Another mini run here by Creamline.
From a 5-point lead, it's now down to 3.
Nabor, Santiago. Sato with the easy over. Here comes Shaya Adorador, blocked at the net. Manabat attacks. De Jesus with the up. Morado. Tots Carlos, that's way outside.
May konting giggle for Tots Carlos. But they have to commend the defense of Ella De Jesus in that rally.
Santiago back on the service area. Lead is 4 for Chery. Good receive by De Jesus. Gumabaw attacks. Yes!
When you get a perfect receive, you can expect a hard hit from the Creamline Cool Smashers as Gumabaw gets that cross court.
(15 serving 18). Creamline down by 3. Nabor sets it. Ortiz. And that's not coming back. Creamline still unable to get the necessary stops to make it a closer game.
6 points na lang ang kailangan ng Chery Tiggo to give Creamline its first loss in this tournament.
Rose Vargas in the ballgame for the first time, former Lady Tamarao. Let's see if she can be the spark off the bench that Creamline is looking for. Oh, but unfortunately, the serve straight to her. Medyo malamig pa. And the lead is back up to 5. 5 points to win. Lead is 5 for Chery.
Shaya Adordor doing a splendid job off that service line.
Morado sets it. Carlos outside. Was there a check ball? No call, as the lead is 6 now for Chery, and Creamline in major trouble here in set number 3.
They have to get one stop in this rotation just to get Shaya Adorador off that service line. Dahil kanina pa sila nahihirapan, but Creamline will burn another timeout as they trail by 6.
Anything specific, Neil, that you think Coach Meneses said to the girls in this timeout?
Well, 6 points, I would honestly say na medyo may kalakihan yan, especially when you're down by 2 points. But they don't have a choice right now. They have to live with the consequences of yung mga lapses in their defense. So they have to take it 1 point at a time. Because if you look at that at 6 points, you might not be able to focus as much.
Good receive by Vargas. 1-2 play picked up by Duremdes. Manabat. That's outside. No check ball. Much needed point for Creamline to get them going here.
Now Eliza Valdez will come back in this ball game.
She's in front. Less of a target for the service of Chery. Tots Carlos now. She had the jump serve when she was with UP. Changes it up. Ortiz into the net. 2 straight points for Creamline. But the big question is, can they get the stop when they need it? Because these are unforced errors.
Now that you see Chery Tiggo committing their fair share of unforced errors, Creamline has to pounce on that opportunity and just keep on attacking the blocks of Chery Tiggo.
But right now, Creamline must defend. Manabat going up and scores. Nobody even made a move for the ball that time for the Cool Smashers, as Chery 3 points away from getting their 4th win of the Open Conference.
That was the sweet spot for Mylene Pat earlier in this ball game. Now, Dindin Santiago Manabat getting involved in that same space.
Lead is 5 for the crossovers, and they only need 3 points to win. What a luxury for Coach Velez right now to be in this position. But Domingo continues to pound away. Points have been far and few between for Seth Domingo.
And we cannot stress how important it is to get quick hits from the middles going, because it pins down on the middle blocker of your opponents. You get a bigger chance to crack the defense if you get your quicks going.
Good serve. Nabor, back row. A block on Manabat. There's a stop. Finally, we see one solid defensive play by Creamline. Do they have more in the bag, especially at this juncture?
Well, they still have a full front line with Eliza Valdez there. And when the Phenom is activated, she can pour in the numbers for the Cool Smashers.
3-point game, 19 serving 22. Here's the set for Paat. And Paat connects.
Creamline still having troubles closing in on the blocks. Clean hit from Mylene Paat.
4-point game. Ortiz is serving. 23-19. Valdez. There's no question with regards to Creamline's offense. But again, it's the defense that they're having trouble with, especially against the tall players of Chery.
Now that they have Gumabo in the front row, we can expect better blocking from them, as she is one of the better blockers here in
That's
our
true.
conference. Now you have a full front line for Creamline. They're still down by 3 points, not yet out of it, but they need to string up 2 more points consecutively, or maybe 3, dire-diretso na.
Gumabao with a push. Nabor was right there. Here comes Paat once again. Atienza was there. Valdez with a push. Too strong. Nabor. Jaja. What a dig there for Morado. Gumabao. Great defense by both teams on the floor. And that's going to be a violation against Santiago. That's going to be a lifting violation. So Creamline within 2. They were down by as many as 6 points late in set number 3. Chery Tiggo will call a timeout. We'll listen in. Tense moments for the fans and of course these teams as well. Creamline within 2. Chery needs 2 to win. Served by Morado. Oh, 1-point game as Morado gets an ace.
One of the best servers in our tournament, Gia Morado. If she can come up with another service ace, we will be tied at 23.
It's going to be one of the most amazing comebacks if Creamline pulls this one off. Paat into the net. Oh, 2 straight errors on the part of Chery as they now give up that 6-point advantage. We're tied at 23.
Ito yung sinasabi natin earlier, you cannot relax when you're against a powerhouse team. Talking about Creamline. Now we have a deadlock at 23.
Solid single lady block. Eliza Valdez against Jaja Santiago, and Creamline for the first time in the match is at set point 24-23.
They read that well. Risa Sato and Eliza Valdez teaming up against Jaja Santiago. Now they are at set point.
And just when we were talking about the defensive Creamline and how it needs to step up, they step up at the biggest point of the match so far. Good save by Morado. What will Giselle C do? Valdez. Oh, and Eliza Valdez wins the set and stays alive here in the match.
Chery Tiggo is contesting that call, but I think that was a valid hit from Eliza Valdez.
And there's the official announcement. Creamline will take set number 3. So this is extended. Set number 4 is on the other side of this break. Creamline Cool Smashers live to fight another set in one of the most improbable comebacks in the Open Conference. After being down by as many as 6 late in set number 3, they bounce back and actually through the tightness of their defense were able to steal the third set away from Chery.
And they capitalized on the unforced errors of Chery Tiggo. They were a little bit careless. They had a good lead in that third set, but again, when you need her the most, Eliza Valdez will give you the points to close out a set or even a game. So we are going set. Now look at the unforced errors given up by Chery Tiggo, 8 compared to 4. But defensively, mas maganda na rin ang pinakita ng Creamline Cool Smashers, edging out Chery Tiggo in the blocking department.
So 4+4 points for the Creamline courtesy of the unforced errors, and they unfortunately weren't able to really the service receive, because you see the 4 aces of Chery. It's the service receive that was the issue for Creamline in set number 3. Let's see if they have that resolved in set number 4.
And this was the last play of that third set.
Was there a check ball?
Definitely, that was a clean check ball from Eliza Valdez.
Check from Aryan Layug. So a clear point for Eliza Valdez as Creamline closes set number 3 with that point. So what a huge turnaround here for Creamline. Hey, stay tuned for One Battleground immediately after the PBL games here on One Sports and One Sports Plus. So we have 2 sets of sports fans on the edge of their seats here. The people waiting for One Battleground. And then, of course, the volleyball fans who are ecstatic that we have a longer match to enjoy here as Creamline sends us to a 4th set after winning set number 3 against Chery.
And it would be anticlimactic to end in a straight set.
Power tip from Jaja Santiago starts things off for the Chery Tiggo crossovers.
That's her 16th point of the match, followed by Dindin Santiago Manabat with 12. And still, Eliza Valdez leading all the scorers for the Creamline Cool Smashers with 12, followed by Michelle Gomaba with 8.
It's a far cry from the way the Cool Smashers scored against Ballypure just a couple of days ago. Eliza Valdez with a power hit against 3 blockers. Valdez will try again. Blocked. A tip by Sato. Nabor goes to Paat. Yes!
Going back to her natural position. Yung +4 errors na yon for Chery Tiggo, it was really crucial.
Yep.
Lalo na it happened in that tail end of that
That's
set.
right. And in such a very close set number 3 as well. Valdez. Yes. And Creamline is on the board here in set number 4. It was Morado's serve that got Creamline back in set number 3. Paat with a push. And again, it's that location, Paat's favorite target, favorite destination.
Medyo hindi na natin narinig yung pangalan niya kanina, but now she's making her presence felt again as they are still up in set count 2-1 against the Creamline Cool Smashers. 54 excellent digs for
Wow.
Chery Tiggo against the 43 of Creamline.
Gotta credit Buding Doremdes right there. Effort she's put out defensively. That's just wide for Michelle Gumabao as Chery off to a good start here. But no thanks to the errors committed by Creamline early in set number 4.
Nice.
Even with the serve, same location as well for Mylene Paat as the lead is 4 now for Chery. Another early timeout here for Sherwin Meneses. Well, most of the players expressing their sentiments, their thoughts during that timeout. Not that very many set of instructions from Sherwin Meneses. Let's see how the girls adjust here. Down by 4. Service aces +2 for Chery.
We say that it's surprising to see Creamline having problems with service reception dahil ang dami nilang magagaling na passers. But they will be forced to give another free ball to Chery Tiggo.
Another power tip there by Jaja Santiago. That's Chery with a very good start here in the 4th. Six serving 1. You'd think after that comeback win in set number 3, Creamline would have a much better start here in the 4th set, but they're getting their points off errors from Chery.
Clearly, yung momentum, akala natin would go to the side of Creamline, but the heavy serving of Chery is actually preventing them from riding that wave of momentum.
There's an attack by Manabat. Tots Carlos off the block, outside point for Creamline.
Still a good sign for the Creamline Cool Smashers as Tots Carlos continue to score for their squad in replacement of Gemma Galanza.
Three serving 6. Nice timing. Jaja Santiago catching that ball at its height.
Now that is a quick hit. That's really difficult to guard.
This is Jaja Santiago.
When she hits it at the highest point of that set.
Yep.
Napakahirap basahin.
Tots Carlos. Over receive by Santiago. Carlos once again. Manabat. Sato is blocked. Carlos. Manabat with the up. Nabor. Here comes Adorador. Great save by Atienza. Carlos. What a rally here. Nabor back set. Adorador. Block. And Creamline scores.
Unofficially, that's their fourth or fifth block point already in this ball game. Tots Carlos trying to draw out the energy dun sa mga kakampi niya. They're known to be one of the most happy, energetic teams in this conference.
Manabat with a check ball as Chery brings us to our first technical timeout. They're up 8-4 in the fourth set.
Maganda yung tools mo ganito. Pagko ka naman dito sa kasi hindi ko madali sa bigaw. Coach, board nga natin.
Let's go!
Isa agad. Ganyan lang ha. Kapag ginagawa, nag-abang dito parati. Ito ang makakita ng mga board. Eh, kapag nagdito, isang sides lang lang siya. Kailangan mo talaga makakabang ako. Tapos sa piensa, abang talaga. Kung mas maganda, ilagay mo yung video kasi
Well, set 4 looking pretty much like how set 3 started. Chery in control over Creamline.
Now that they're in control, you have to be careful in not giving away too many errors sa Creamline. That's 25 already. That's a whole set given to Creamline compared to their 17.
Adorador has been serving great so far in this whole match. Gumabaw off the block, yes.
Same strategy for Michelle Gumabaw, hitting it off the hands of the taller blocker.
Free ball from Durendes. Morado to Tots Carlos. Over receive. Let's see what Morado does. 1-2 play. Adorador was right there. And Ortiz pays them back with a power tip.
With her version of a 1-2 play. Good aggressiveness on the side of Micah Ortiz.
Serving Jaja Santiago. Manabat.
Nine serving 5, set number 4. Carlos with a push. Nabor to Paat. Blocked this time. Much better coverage at the net for Seth Domingo.
But I think that ball went in. So that will be a point for Chery. Tiggo. Pumasok.
Oh, that's right. So now Chery back up by 5. Set number 4.
That has been the trend. They're exclusively targeting the wing spikers of Creamline. It has been working for Chery. Tiggo.
Pao Soriano is in the game for the first time for Creamline. Lead is 6 for the crossovers. Gumabaw from the back row. Adorador And that's going to be an overreach.
They're clearly not happy with that call. But the first referee was just in front of that play, so he would know better.
6 of the 11, now serving Carlos.
Tight call.
Yep, could have gone either way for sure. So, break getting or going the way of Creamline. Back row attack, Manabat. Picked up by Tots Carlos. Gumabaw is blocked. As Chery showing their defense again here in the fourth set.
They've been really solid defensively, talking about Chery Tiggo. The only thing to note is really their unforced errors. But Mike Ortiz with 10 points of 7 attacks and 3 blocks in this ball game.
And right now, Chery looking to run away with it, establishing a 7-point advantage.
Liza Valdez, too much angle, hitting the antenna.
And Pao Soriano off the bench with his first, or her first point.
Then you have a lot of talent in your bench, talking about Creamline. Kaya kahit sinong ipasok mo dyan, you can count on them to perform and tally more points. Especially now, they're still down by 6 points.
Still a long way to go if you're Creamline. 7 serving 13. Could have been out too. That's served by Soriano. Back row attack by Manabat. Here comes Valdez. Block. Sato with a tip. Good coverage by Carlos on the Nabor attack. And Liza Valdez once again.
Off that vertical jump, she didn't even have to get that full approach. She still scored on that hit.
Timeout called by Aaron Velez of Chery Tiggo Crossovers. They are up 13-8 against Creamline here in set number 4. Well, stay tuned for One Battleground immediately after the PVL games here on One Sports and One Sports Plus. All the fight fans will have to be patient for just a little bit longer. Although Jaja Santiago seems to be in a hurry to finish this one off.
No connection issues para dito sa former teammates.
Set to Liza Valdez, and she connects.
Probably one of the cleanest hits so far
Actually.
for Liza Valdez in this ball game.
Well, they need more of that. Creamline down by 5, 9 serving 14. But outside.
Too strong on that attempt. We are in the same possession. They're leading by as much as 6, 7 points. Then they start committing errors. So they have to take control of this set if they want to end it at 4.
And there's Jaja Santiago. And this is that same dilemma of Creamline. You get 2 points, but you're unable to get a good stop. They were able to pull it off late in set number 3, but they've got to do it all over again here in set number 4 because they're practically in the very same position they were in the past set.
And now that Jaja Santiago is in the front row, you can expect more sets
Yep.
na maibibigay sa kanya.
Valdez is blocked. Carlos keeping it alive. Valdez again. Through the block this time. Eliza Valdez is not letting up.
11 serving 15. Now serving Eliza Valdez.
11 serving 15. 4-point deficit. Service error on the part of Valdez as Chery takes us to our second technical timeout. Will it be the last one? Find out when we come back.
Iwan niyo sa akin yung cross.
Well, Creamline still can't really pull themselves out of this hole they're in. Every time they score a couple of points, they commit a couple of errors as well, which is why they're still sunk in this 5-point deficit against Chery, and also down 2-1.
Yeah, they can't afford a 1-for-1 exchange. Maybe a 2-for-1 exchange would be better for Creamline if they want to catch up against Chery. But now Jaja will be serving, one of the stronger
Yep.
servers for Chery Tiggo. Great pickup from Atienza.
Carlos is blocked at the net.
And lapses on the defense of Creamline will prevent them to set up their counter-attack. That was high and kayang-kaya makuha ng coverage ng depensa yon.
It just seems like today Creamline has been slower on their feet and a lot more predictable offensively as well, which is why the defense has really zeroed in on the attackers. But that time around, Gumabaw gets one off.
Not yet over for Michelle Gumabaw. They were able to do it in that third set, so they know that they can come back from a 5-point deficit.
Power attack right there. That goes outside for Manabat. She really winded up for that one. Underhand set. Manabat will try again. Morado. Tots Carlos. Yes.
You know, it's a different thing to establish a big lead, but it's also different to close out every set. It's not over until you hit that 25th point. Now, Creamline is just down by 3 points.
Is this the comeback all the fans have been waiting for? Yes, it is. Run continues for the Cool Smashers. A 6-point lead of Chery now down to 2.
What a time to get involved in blocking. And napakagandang bunot for Coach Erwin Meneses, inserting Tots Carlos in this ball game.
There's Adorador. Nice dig for De Jesus. Carlos outside.
And they're asking for a check ball. So He will confirm it with the first referee. But it will not be given.
There doesn't seem to be any. 3-point game, 18 serving 15. Set number 4. Block on Domingo by Ortiz.
Mike Ortiz performing really well in this ball game, not just offensively but also defensively. One-on-one against Pao Soriano.
So dito sa middle, Gia, just a little higher. Dapat hindi ng bola para nalilito doon yung kalaban. Kaya lang,
$19-15 is the tally. Set number 4 here. Chery in a good position to close this one out. We'd like to say good evening to, what is it, close to 80,000 viewers we have watching online. And we're not even talking about the viewers on Signal, or well, on One Sports and One Sports Plus.
As we expected, talagang inaabangan itong game ng Chery and Creamline. And we still have a lot of matches in the next coming days.
Oh, but Ortiz is on a defensive tear right now. Back-to-back kill blocks for Mike Ortiz. Lead is back up to 5 for the crossovers. 20 serving 15. 5-point lead and 5 points to win for Chery. And Michelle Gumabao with an uncharacteristic attack error right there. Chery up by 6. And look at the rest of the bench. Excited about what could be the outcome a lot of crossover fans are waiting for in this matchup.
They're looking to end the 25-game winning streak of the Creamline Pool Smashers, if I'm not mistaken, dating back to 2019 pa. So it says a lot about their dominance as a team. But right now, Chery Tiggo is just 3 points away from dealing Creamline its first loss of the conference.
Shaya Dorodor with a service ace. And she's improved vastly from, you know, how she served back when she was with UE to today.
And what I like about Adorador is that kung ano man yung role na binibigay sa kanya, pinaninindigan niya. She can hit from the outside, she can hit from the opposite, she serves well, and she also defends well.
Meantime, Tots Carlos putting everything on in that attack. But will that be enough, though? That's a big question. Galanza returns to the game. She's struggled today after scoring 10 points in the Bali Pure win. Underhand set back to Tots Carlos. Durandes was right there. She's done a just magnificent job defensively for Chery, but Tots Carlos will not be denied.
She knows that she has Micah Ortiz guarding her, so she has a better chance hitting it off the hands of Nabor. Still a 5-point lead for the crossovers.
Manabat. Here comes Carlos again. She's been the go-to girl for Creamline in the last few plays. Pao Soriano attacks from the middle. Manabat goes up with a tip. And De Jesus with a reception error.
Costly error for the side of the Cool Smashers. It was already a chance, an opportunity for you to draw your counter attack.
Now serving for Chery, Tiggo, Jaja Santiago, Manabat.
Manabat serving Chery 2 points away from dealing Creamline their first loss of the Open Conference. Carlos with an off-speed hit, and it pays off.
She has been providing the firepower for the Cool Smashers in this specific set. They will still try to cut the deficit.
18-23.
Valdez is back in the game,
Good news for the Cool Smashers.
but will her presence in front be enough? Because Creamline right now down by 5 need stops as much as they need points. Back row attack, Tots Carlos, oh, beautiful play.
Back-to-back points for Tots Carlos. Clearly not giving up.
And take another look at the move by Tots Carlos. Chery is all too aware of what happened in the third set. They call another timeout here. Will they be able to respond positively? Creamline down 4. Chery needs 2 to win. Stay tuned for One Battleground immediately after the PVL game here on One Sports and One Sports Plus. Creamline needs to play near perfect volleyball right now, unfortunately for them. After the timeout, they commit a crucial service error, and Chery is at match point here.
They have to work on a lot of things talking about Creamline Cool Smashers after this ball game. But right now, Chery is at match point.
Ball is still alive. Great save by Eliza Valdez. Can Chery finish it off here? That's outside from Jaja Santiago. So 2 crucial errors for both teams here are putting the fans at the edge of their seats.
You see the eagerness of Jaja Santiago.
Yeah.
She wanted to put an end to this game already.
4 match points for Chery. Eliza Valdez. That's outside. But that doesn't cross the net according to Lumar Pajarillo.
This is the first loss of the Creamline Cool Smashers as the Chery Tiggo crossovers will cement their spot at fourth place.
Jaja Santiago with 18 points is our best player of the game. Creamline with her first loss of the season. Chery goes up to 4-2 in the standings. For Neil Flores, I'm Eric Capan. Thank you for watching PVL coverage right here on One Sports.